Hello, welcome to The Natural Psychic. Tonight's program is about guides. These are the spirit guides, the angels, the forces on the other side that come through to the psychic mind, to the open mind, to teach us, heal us, inspire us, get in touch with us to help us. You can all find your guides, you can all get in touch with your guides. We're going to talk a lot about that today. We have two wonderful guests today. We have Carol Secunis, who's a nurse and a cosmetician who is also psychic and a songwriter, and she's going to be singing for us, and we'll be discussing some of the information she has about guides. And then later in the program, we'll be having Father Vasquez, an Anglican priest, who will also be talking about the metaphysical world and his experience with guides and some really wonderful, fun things too. So do stay with the program. This is show number 23 in a 24-week series devoted to developing your own psychic ability. And I know you'll enjoy it. So stay with us. Have a paper and pencil ready so that you can take down information on how to contact us later on in the program. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Carol Secunis, who will be singing a song she wrote herself called You Inspire Me. And we'll be enjoying that in just a moment. Okay. She's such a pretty lady, too. I hope we're not picking the feedback up on the air. Come in and sit down. Get your microphone. Thank you. That was wonderful. You're so multi-talented. not only this, a mother and a singer and a songwriter and nurse and what all? You don't do anything, do you?
That's enough. I'm busy.
And you have your own business?
Yes, I do.
Just
recently. Well, I'm a registered nurse and also a licensed cosmetologist, and I saw a great need after working in the field of cosmetology and in nursing for help for people who had been traumatized badly, either through disease processes or surgery. So I have a partner, and we have developed a line of cosmetics and also use a line of cosmetics that was developed in Western Germany to hide the defects and teach people how to care for their own problems. Also, we have hair goods and so forth for those who've lost their hair through chemotherapy or burns, or it's very rewarding.
Yeah, that's interesting. About your metaphysical leanings, I know that I worked with you a little bit, teaching you some of the basic skills of metaphysics, and within a couple of hours, I was so amazed the reading you did for me regarding my father. Do you want to talk about that a minute? Just that the guidance you got
yes,
that day?
First let me say that since I was a child, I have had things I just couldn't really explain. And Linda and I were talking about this one evening, and first she told me that I could write music. And I guess I knew it, but I didn't know it. And so I did. I just did.
That very night you sat down to our piano.
That night, I did. And one of the songs you just heard is one of them that I did in that sort of a series of that time. And then one night Linda was at my home, and she was giving me some guidance in how to meditate and how to get in touch with my psychic abilities. And she asked me to just pick up on her father. So I did. I went into a meditation, and I just felt her father's presence. And I guess being in the healing professions, it was natural that I would pick up on his health. And I found a problem with his health, and Linda validated the fact that it could be a possibility. So we called him, and it was incredibly correct. And,
yes, it was. I think you saved his life, is what it was. Well, I knew you were right because you started describing the house, the driveway, his appearance, the fact that he was a square dancer and he hadn't done that in 20 years, and all those other things. So when you said the thing about his, that he needed diuretics, and this was a Saturday night, and we called him about 11 o'clock. I think we scared him to death.
Scared the poor fellow.
Scared him to life.
We gave him high blood pressure.
We gave him high blood pressure. But he did go ahead and take some that night and lost 7 pounds overnight. And when he went to the doctor on Monday, they validated that he absolutely had needed that. So it was really a miracle, I thought.
Well, it was amazing to me to be able to do this because I'd never tried before. And so to just feel these things going on, I mean, I could just feel them. What I really saw was the veins of his hands being distended and having a knowing that it was due to an increase in fluid volume in his body.
Yeah, it was a good hit. Not bad for your first time out, at least under training. Have you had any other experiences just that have come to you that would fit into the topic of guides? Or you mentioned your grandmother?
Yes.
What was that like?
I have probably the closest relationship I ever had in my life with a female was with my grandmother, and she passed away, and I really grieved for her terribly. I really missed her. And it was on my birthday, and I had been to the Hollywood Bowl with my brother and came home, and I was just in that state between sleep and awake when
the alpha state when everyone's very psychic, by the way. Yeah.
Really, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
But I all of a sudden felt her presence in the room. It had been 1 year since she had passed away, about 1 year and 3 months. And I still could not talk of her without grieving. And I felt this overwhelming sense of her presence. And she was holding my hands as if my hands would have been in the wall.
Wow.
And I remember I asked, "Is this you?" Because I knew it was a knowing. And she didn't say yes. She just said, "I'm whoever you want me to be."
Oh.
But I knew that it was she, and we did have quite a long conversation, and I never have felt grief again since then over her being away, because I know she's really not. She's just as close as she ever was.
Yeah, well, it's very easy to contact. Having the belief makes it easier. Do you realize that we're almost out of time in terms of our interview and that we need to go on to the next step already? You've been wonderful.
Well,
You're
thank
singing-
you for
don't-
asking me here today, Linda.
Well, what we're going to do is the meditation. I'd like you to join it with
Oh,
us on
great.
that. So what we're going to do today is have a meditation on world peace. And so I went and got a little world. If any of you have globes at home, you might want to hold them too. We'll get into the harmony of giving peace to the world. And we're going to start now. So just everyone sit back and close your eyes and take some slow, deep breaths. Inhaling and exhaling, naturally and easily. And just coming into a peaceful, centered state. And imagine that you're holding the world we all live in and love, in your hands. Just like the song, He's got the whole world in His hands. Put the world in your hands. And I want you to surround the world now with a wonderful, loving, pink, golden light. Pink for love and gold for the highest vibration. And so have a pink and golden light. This is a purifying, healing vibration. The world needs love. And let the love go from your hands and your heart into it, around it, and through it. Purifying it, cleansing, healing the planet herself, the environment, and all the people around the world, without distinction to their backgrounds, race, creed, or color. And open your heart to those who are hungry, those who are in need, those who are sick, and see them now in perfection. See them happy, prosperous, living in beautiful gardens and oases of light and love and beauty. See that there are no guns or wars. See that there is only light and love. Allow the vision of the peaceful world to transcend the old thoughts of fear and lack. And just let the world be in perfect stillness. And then be sure to include yourself in this pink and golden light, knowing that if we each create the peace in our own homes, in our own hearts, in our own workplaces, that's the real place we need to start. And if everyone did it, we'd certainly have a beautiful, peaceful world. Thank you for your love for the world. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come out of the meditation. That was nice. Thank you, Kira.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Okay, we're going to be having Father Vasquez. He's going to kill me for saying it wrong on this show now. And come ahead, we need you. All right. Very good. There, you can put your microphone on. Thank you for joining us.
Well, Linda, thank you for having me.
You're wonderful. I saw you also at the Church of Inner Light, one of my great places for finding good speakers. And you were, I think, one of the more charming, humorous ones we've ever had there. Even let's start at the beginning. Tell us about your background a little bit.
Of course, my journey into the psychic.
Yes.
Naturally, as a churchman, I was one of the first to, shall we say, damn, it was works of the devils and all that sort of thing. And interestingly enough, if anybody told me I was coming to California to come to work in this work, I would have called them a liar.
Mm-hmm.
And upon meeting Arthur Ford and Roland and Betty Hathaway, when I went to Roland and Betty's home, I didn't know them from Adam at that point. And when I knocked on the door, and they opened the door, and they greeted me, but they greeted me by name, and they told me that they had been waiting for me for 5 years.
Long before you ever thought of coming to California.
Exactly, exactly.
How did you happen to be at their door? Someone took you? Or?
Yes, I was introduced by a wonderful medium of one Faye Carlton. We did work in team until she crossed over a few years back. Marvelous psychic.
Wow.
And within this training, as long as we're talking about guides, with the way that I have been trained, we work not unlike Arthur Ford, who did actually set the method of approach, but again, not unlike Edgar Casey. That is, we use hypnosis to calm the mind, and then we are able to bring in our guides. Now, in these early times, that first year, I did nothing but automatic writing and astral travel.
Can I ask you a technical question? How do you do automatic writing? Do you actually sit down with a paper and pencil and just let your hand go? Is that the way it works for you? Or did the words come to you and then you write them? Or?
Okay. Let me explain. First of all, again, we use hypnosis.
Okay.
Now, after getting down and to a suitable depth of trance, we do not need a deep state for this. We are then able to open our eyes. We can see the paper in front of us, and then Spirit starts impressing upon us
I see.
what they want to tell us.
I see.
And at first it starts a few words, and then after that, as the weeks ensue, it becomes just reams of it.
They love to find people who will work with them, don't
Yes, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
they? That's been my experience too.
And then after that, we start with astral travel. There's inbuilt reasons for astral travel because we need a lot of detail. And by giving a lot of detail and working with our guides, they establish a rapport with us. So at the final end of it, we would hope then, when they're ready, to go into a somnambulistic state.
I see.
And this is what I do now. Most of my readings now, I choose to work in a somnambulistic state. I have no knowledge what transpires. Now, we have questioned Spirit as to how this takes place. And perhaps the simplest way that they could define it is that we share consciousness together.
Oh, neat.
And it's a very easy way to understand it.
So, would you call yourself a trance medium then, if you forget?
I've worked in trance now for a long time. Mr. Gregory, who is my guide, we have shared and walked together for almost over 20 years.
That's really interesting. And you were telling me before the program that Mr. Gregory is someone that you can verify. Actually.
Oh, yes. He was a Methodist minister who gave up his ministry towards the end of the First World War, when all our boys were coming back from Europe who had contracted tuberculosis in the trenches, that were coming home to die, and he would arrange their funerals, if need be, hospital facilities, contacting the families so that they can join with their loved one through these particular hours, you see. And so it was a great ministry on his part.
Oh, that's
He
wonderful,
crossed
yeah.
over about 3 years after that.
I see. And then he became your guide shortly thereafter? Or?
Oh, no, 1966.
66, so he'd been up there a while.
Yeah, there's a little bit of gap in there, yes.
That's all right. Can you, at church you related the most fascinating story about the guides helping you out in the desert. Could you?
No, it wasn't the desert.
Oh, all right.
This was down in
followed up again.
Mexico.
All right.
And what had happened, we were on a weekend junket. I had just purchased a new Jeep, and there were 4 people in my party. And when we got down there, it was raining, it was miserable. By Saturday, I was so disgusted I had had it. So I said, let's just pack up all this stuff and go home. Okay, were on the road, on the toll road in Mexico, and mentioning toll road because toll road is not, it is their best. If this is their best, I would hate to see their worst. At any rate, we developed a flat tire. Naturally, the natural thing is that we're going to change the tire.
Sure.
All right. Well, I had purchased this Jeep and didn't even check out if everything was all right. We got out, we went to the back of the Jeep, and when we pulled off the hubcap, off the tire in the back, here was the biggest padlock that you ever saw. I broke 2 screwdrivers,
No key, right?
one of those crossbar lug wrenches, no key.
Oh my gosh.
Well, everybody was screaming, what are we going to do, what are we going to do? So finally I said, all of you magpies, shut up. I went to the side of the Jeep, knowing the wonderful adage of be quiet, be still, and know. Okay, now I must say to you, at this time, I was still doing automatic writing, and I was still doing astral travel. I had never heard Mr. Gregory's voice at this time.
I see.
And I called for Mr. Gregory for help. And for the first time, he said, don't worry, help is on the way. I thanked him. Then I walked to the back of the Jeep. And at this point, I'm very, very annoyed with myself. How stupid to take a trip like this and not check things out. And I was really berating myself, and I lightly touched the lock. And with that, the lock fell at our feet, broken in 3 pieces. Well, of course, it put through the windwhams with my guests, but at any rate, we were on our way. Now, I can tell you this. Have any of you ever been in Tijuana
I have once, yeah.
on a Saturday night, and they're all trying to sell everything to you at once? And we got lost in Tijuana. The pinatas were coming through the window, wrought iron gates, bye, bye, bye. And I was totally lost. And so these same friends said, well, where's your guides now? And I said, I just sent out the call. And with this, a young Mexican boy pulled up in this bedraggled old car. And he said, can I help you, senor? And I said, yes, I'm looking for the border. And so he said, you follow me. Well, we're going through all the back roads of Tijuana and the junkyards and everything, and people are getting beamed in the back in the back of the Jeep because of the small wheelbase, and they're saying to me, oh, they're going to take us up an alley and we're going to be robbed. And I kept saying, have faith, have faith. Well, all right. Lo and behold, we go up this little alley. And when we get to the end of the alley, he said to me, sir, he said, if you will turn that way, I must turn this way because I must go to work. And I turned the corner, and there was the big green border.
Beautiful.
Now, in going through the border, and as we're riding up San Diego Freeway, I hear Mr. Gregory's voice again saying, tell those idiots in the back that this is not witchcraft, but this is basic universal law. And this, you know, I've had many, many experiences, but this is the one that you're talking about,
Yeah,
that I shared
incredibly
with
nice.
you at the Church of the Inner Light.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I've had these things too, but yours is very dramatic and well put. Do you realize we're almost out of time? We've just barely sat down and it's just going.
I know, it just seems to fly.
It does. Our guides are telling us. Could you tell people how they could reach you or see you're working with another church right now?
Yes, I'm working with the Ambassador of Love Spiritual Church in the Valley, 5314 Ben Avenue,
Okay.
and I could be reached area code 213-383-7529.
I know you
And
do.
if anybody has any questions about how this works, or even if they're in trouble and they need a reading, why, I'm more than happy to, because naturally I'm in the work and I am available.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And I know Carol Sinkunis, can you tell me what's your phone number, how we can reach you? 818-996-9639. And the name of the company? Medical Institute of Beauty. Okay. That's for those who might need that service. And I have, if you want to call or write me, this is the Natural Psychic, 3017 Santa Monica Boulevard, Suite 350, Santa Monica, California, 90404. And the phone number is area code 213-207-5310. 207-5310. Okay, already. This is the 23rd show. Next week is the 24th and last show with Rainbow. I don't know any other name for her but Rainbow. She's from Unity Church, and she's fantastic. I mean, excuse me, she's Church Religious Science. Anyway, she's going to be singing, and we're going to be talking about the afterlife. She's studied with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She's very metaphysical, and she's marvelous, and also lots of fun, so do come back for that show. And thank you for being with us today. We've really enjoyed having you. I hope you enjoyed having us in your home. And I want to thank again Carol Sinkunis and Father Vasquez for being here.
Again, thank you for having me.
Well, you're wonderful. And I just wish we had hours to talk about guides. Then we have our angel back there, a guardian angel for all of us. So
That's right. That's how it works.
that's definitely how
I'm
it
a
works.
witness for the prosecution.
It does work. So stay tuned to your own inner guidance. Listen. Pay attention. It's always right. Just listen. Okay, thank you, and good night from the Natural Psychic. Bye-bye. Hello, I'm Linda Schiller. Welcome to the Natural Psychic. This is the last in a long series of 24 programs devoted to developing your own natural psychic ability. The Natural Psychic started about a year ago, and it started in a meditation session I was having. I had done a TV show before, and I wanted to ask Spirit if it was okay or within the harmony of the universe for me to do another program on this topic. And within 15 minutes, I was given 24 shows, the exact order, the exact topics, and everything I needed to do to follow through, including things like having a pink rose on every set, what to wear, how to present it, how to structure the show, having a meditation in each program. And I was told not to worry about what would be said, where I would find the guests or anything, but just to proceed. So I did follow this guidance, and within a few weeks we were on the air and off and running. Lots of little miracles, I call them, came up in the early beginnings of doing this program, which to me was a validation that we were doing the right thing, and it seems to have proved out that way over the year. And wonderful things have happened for me and for the people who've seen the show, I think. Little things would happen like our logo was designed by a major advertising agency, basically for love. Our theme song was written and produced in her own studio by Gail Levant, also for love. So many things came out this way. And so that's one of the reasons we've been on the air and had the support we had. We've had about 75 people contribute either by being on the show or working in the studios or just helping in a number of ways to keep us going. And I'm really grateful for all of that support and for all of you listeners who have stayed with us all this time. So I want to welcome you to our last show. It's probably one of the funnest and most interesting. It's on the afterlife. I had originally asked Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She was on my dream list. And of course, she's very busy and graciously turned us down. However, I was able to find someone who'd studied with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And this person is herself quite a lady and very delightful. And her name is Rainbow. And she'll be with us throughout the program, off and on, with her daughter, Rainbow Shalom. And Rainbow will be singing, and Rainbow Shalom did the artwork for today's show. And we just have lots of exciting things to discuss. So I'd like you to continue with us to discuss the afterlife. You might want to get a paper and pencil to note down information and contact places, or also to take notes of the things we'll be talking about. The afterlife is a big topic. It's like saying we actually know something to say about it. It's kind of presumptuous in a way. None of us have ever, quote, been there. At least we can't consciously prove that. But maybe from memories of past lives or from intuitive understanding, or I know for myself it came through doing hundreds of readings and having spirit come through or working with ghosts, things like that. I really know, as much as I know my name is Linda, that there's an afterlife. So it comes from an inner conviction. Also, children seem to know more than many do. And we'll be talking to Rainbow Shalom about that. So now I'm going to give Rainbow an opportunity to sing a song that she wrote, and she'll be playing and accompanying herself. And this is a song called Thoughts Are Things, which I first heard at the Church of Religious Science on Sunset. So welcome, Rainbow, and
thank you very much.
we'll let you start.
Did you know that thoughts are things? Thoughts are things, every little thought to us it brings, happiness, misery on its wings. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things. There was an old bully from Blow who hated his relatives so. One morning he cried as he sat up and died, "We certainly reap as we sow. Thoughts are things, every little thought to us it brings, happiness, misery on its wings. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things." There was an old lady from Bleat. She craved every food that was sweet. So she swelled and she swelled, till at last this gal yelled, "Why, I guess that we are what we eat." Thoughts are things, every little thought to us it brings, happiness, misery on its wings. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things. There was an old health fiend from Bree. He doted on vitamin E. When he ran out, dismayed, his virility stayed. Why, it ain't that there pill, it's me. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things. Every little thought to us it brings happiness, misery on its wings. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things. There was a young boy from Perchink. He hated all folks that were pink. He got measles and mumps and fleasels and bumps till he screamed, why, we are what we think. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things. Every little thought to us it brings happiness, misery on its wings. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things. Every little thought to us it brings happiness, misery on its wings. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things. Ah!
Yeah, that's wonderful. And how can you prove that? Because thoughts are creative. Is that what you mean by thoughts are things?
Well, I specifically selected that song for this show we're doing on the hereafter because I'm so fascinated with the hereafter because of some experiences I've had. And in Tibet, they say that the very thought that you think at the moment of death determines your experience after death.
Wow.
And certainly we know the thoughts that we think attract the things into our lives. So that's why I selected the song for today.
So we certainly wouldn't want to die afraid, or
No.
we'd come back in a fearful life.
Yes, and it would determine our experience, what happens. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is a very interesting book, they educate their people how to die. That's something in our culture. We don't even talk about it. Do you know that dead is a 4-letter word? In our culture, it's something that's hidden, and people don't want to know about it. And since I've been studying and getting my doctorate in this field, I find that it's very important to bring it out into the open and bring our fears out into the open and the things that are blocking us so that we can die in love and in peace and therefore have a peaceful transition.
That's really true. I was once a suicide prevention volunteer for a year, and one of the things I came away with was probably the saddest thing about suicide is the fact that a person would die alone believing no one cared, because
Yes.
it's always not true. There's always somebody that cares. They may be temporarily in the state of forgetting that or out of touch with that or not caring about themselves. But
Yes. As a matter of fact, later today I'd like to share with you something that people can do when people are making their transition or dying that will help them know, even if they're in a coma, even if you think that you can't communicate, you can communicate.
Oh,
And
for
there's
sure.
something that we'll talk about later.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. That'd be wonderful.
Also, I'd like to share with you some experiences that I've had that let me know that life is eternal.
Okay.
And we just go from one state to another, like opening a door and going into another room. I used to be a librarian, a metaphysical librarian several years ago, and people would come and tell me the most unusual incidents in their life. For example, one lady came to me and she told me that her family was searching for her father's will. They searched everywhere because they were very eager to know how much money he had left everybody, right? And nobody could find it. And her father came to her in a dream. This is after he had died. And he told her where to look in a certain book on whatever shelf on the bookshelf. And she went, and the will was there.
No, that's perfect.
And another person also told me that her mother came to her in a dream in a flowing white satin gown and told her that there was a pile of clothing on her closet floor, and under that clothing was something for her. And she went and searched, and there was a pile of money with her name on it.
Isn't that
And the
marvelous?
mother could not rest until she had communicated this to the daughter. So definitely, that, of course, showed me. Also in my work, I had the following experience. There was a young girl who was dying in her 20s, and she didn't believe in anything at all. And I was sitting with her, and I was trying to get her to breathe deeply and to feel comfortable and calm, when all of a sudden she began laughing and clapping her hands in utter glee. And I didn't want to intrude, but I said, "What's going on?" And she said, "Mama's here, Daddy's here, Aunt Sadie is here." And I said, "Tell me about it." She said, "They're welcoming me. They're making me a welcoming party."
Isn't that beautiful?
And I said, "Do you see the light?" And she said, "Yes, I see the light." I said, "Is God there?" She said, "He must be here somewhere." And she kept clapping her hands and laughing in glee. And I'd like to tell this because she didn't believe in anything at all. And she laughed as she died.
Oh,
She
it's
laughed
beautiful.
as she died, because just as we're born, when we're little babies, people greet us and they're so happy to see us. Did you know that people are greeting us on the other side as well? I just think it's incredible. It's wonderful.
I know when I was first doing readings, the washing machine repairman came one day, and I was looking for people to practice on, so he let me give him a reading just for fun. And one thing led to another, and I said, I'm seeing a man coming down the hill on skis with a red scarf. And he said, oh, that's my brother, but he's on the other side. And he started to cry, and, you know, he just said, how could I know that, and all these things. And I said, well, he has this message for you. And then I mentioned a woman's name. He said, oh, I know. Oh, I've been secretly in love with her for years and all this stuff. But anyway, 3 weeks later, he called me up and he said, you know, I believe in God again because of your reading. And I was just so moved, you know, that was something that, it was so clear. It wasn't something I had, you know.
Yes, I know.
You know.
In 1958, I had a near-death experience, or almost death experience, and I went through a long black tunnel toward a very white light. If you've ever done research, this is what happens when you die. Not only did it happen to me, it happens to most everyone. And I actually felt that I saw God face to face, and it was the most beautiful experience. I wanted to stay there forever. It was utter peace. And he told me, you can't stay here. You have work to do that is not finished on earth. And I remember asking him, please, this is so wonderful. Do I have to? And he said, yes.
So
And
here you
so
are
I
doing
came,
it.
I remember coming back, I was looking down at my own body, and I remember re-entering through the little finger, and that was a very, that set me on a spiritual path like no other experience I've ever had.
It kind of changed your whole life.
Yes. You know, people communicate from the other side in various ways. For example, my mother was not very spiritual, but she loved me dearly, and we loved one another dearly. And she did not want a funeral. She wanted her ashes to be mixed with my father's and strewn into the Pacific Ocean. So we got my father's ashes. After many years, we had to go to Japan to get his ashes and so forth, and we mixed them. We went out into the marina on a sailboat. You have to go out 3 miles. And I had flowers from her garden, and I lovingly and prayerfully mixed these ashes and strew them into the ocean mixed with the flowers. And do you know that they lit up? They left an iridescent trail in the ocean, and about 100 seagulls and herons were swarming above. And other people on the sailboat, I would say, do you see that? And they were either crying or chanting and only I saw that. But I knew that that was my message of eternal life from my mother.
Isn't that beautiful? God, that's beautiful. Could you lead us in a meditation now? Have you got? I think you had something prepared for.
Yes, I would like to. It's on the same theme that thoughts are things.
Okay.
That if we think beautiful thoughts from Philippians, then our life will be beautiful.
Okay, and did you prepare the music for this?
Yes, I wrote the music. It's called Beloved.
Beloved. Okay. Hopefully our director can cue up this music, and then you can do the meditation. Everyone sit back and close your eyes. I can see.
Take a deep breath through your nose and exhale through your mouth all worries and fears. Breathe deeply and evenly. Whatsoever things are true, my love. Whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, my love. Beloved, think on these things. Whatsoever things are pure, my love. Whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, Beloved, think on these things. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, beloved, think on these things. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, beloved, think on these things. Whatsoever things are true, my love, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, my love, beloved, think on these things. Beloved, think on these things.
Oh, that's beautiful. Very nice.
Thank
I like
you.
the music too.
Thank you.
You've written a lot of songs, right?
Yes, about 150 of them.
Well, just a piker. You were mentioning earlier about the Tibetan breathing, what is this?
Co-meditation.
Tell us a little bit.
Co-meditation, you can meditate with another person. And actually, I have done it recently with somebody who was dying. Some people, when they're in the throes of dying, get awfully scared because the ego has to let go of what it knows, even though the soul knows it's all right. The ego is terrified, literally. Let's call it like it is, terrified. And so their breathing might be very sporadic. So what you do, if you're a relative or friend or whatever, you match the breathing of the dying person or anybody who's ill, in a coma, whatever, and you match their breathing. So if they're breathing fitfully, you might have to do that. And on the exhalation, you say something. And you tell them that they should just listen to your voice. And if you know them well, if they're Jewish, for example, you might say Shalom on the exhalation, or you might say Shema Yisrael. If they're Christian, you might say Jesus loves you. If they're Buddhist, you might chant their particular mantra. Or if they're nothing and you don't know what they are, you can just exhale and say love. And so what you do, you'd go, love, peace, or whatever the phrase is that you've selected. And you know that their breathing calms down. Respiration rate reduces to about 4 or 5 times a minute. This is from terror. And such peace engulfs them that as they're making the transition, it is totally in light and love instead of that terrified. And you can do this. I often used to think, what can I do to help when somebody's in this state? I felt helpless. When I discovered this technique, I felt God had blessed me to do something. It's like a triangle. You, the person, and God are forming that triangle. And it has helped me enormously and others.
That's a beautiful thing. I hope we all remember that.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. You're just full of priceless information. And I know that you've also managed to teach your daughter a lot of things, and then she's been here to teach you a few things too. So I'd like to have this young philosopher, who's I think about the age of 7.
Just turned 7.
Just turned 7, come and join us.
And she has really come to teach us. I put that for sure.
Okay. Well, we're going to trade microphones here for Rainbow. Rainbow to Rainbow Shalom. Okay, thank you, Rainbow. You were wonderful. All right. Hi, sweetheart. You're the youngest person on our show. Thank you for being here. I see that you did the pictures around here,
Yeah.
and this is only part of the ones you brought.
Yeah, I have a lot more.
You know, a lot more. You're an artist.
Yeah, you would say so.
I would say so. You're, are you in school?
Yeah.
What grade?
Let's see, when I was 6, I was in 1st, and I'm going to be in 2nd.
Great. Okay, well, I know that you have a lot of answers for all the people out there in the world to hear. So I want to ask you some questions, okay? You just tell me whatever you think. Do you know what angels are?
Well, what I think angels are, I think they're like good luck, like God sends some sounds to help you with your problems and to tell you, just like Care Bears or something like.
Like Care Bears?
Yeah, like to tell you what they really think and to tell you what to do to make the person feel better or to make you feel better if somebody did something to hurt you. They're like your clown, like they try to cheer you up and tell you what to do when you're sad and down. They tell you what to do to help somebody. And when you meditate and you talk to God, the angels help you. The angels tell you to telephone God like that, but only in your mind, not with a telephone.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like E.T.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Do you know what God is?
Yes, he's a beaming light that cares about you real much, and he wants you to understand why he bring you down to earth. He wants you to work, and he made you for love. He made you out of love.
That's good.
And he wants you to praise him. He wants you to not like his master, but love him as much as he loves you.
That's great.
That's why he made you.
Yeah.
It's like this is his world, and it's like we're Playhouse, and he wants me to be on this TV program.
I know.
Like he does everything we do. He makes us do it.
That's right. Now, do you know what happens when you die? What do you think happens when you die?
You travel in another world, but first you need to visit God to get restored and get all your blood back and stuff. But your soul's still down here. Uh-huh. It never leaves you, though. It's like it's connecting to you up in the heaven and down here. It stays in the same place.
Is there anything that you feel that you should say that I didn't think to ask you? Have you any special thing you wanted to say?
Well, not really. I mean, I'm just asking all the questions you tell me.
Okay. Do your friends understand the things you understand?
Well, not all of them. Only some of them. It's not. I only have 2 or 3 friends that understand. Not all of them understand about God, and not some of them bring up it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like some of them are not in the way that I am, like not too spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they don't bring up it a lot.
Yeah.
And some of my friends are.
That's good. That's good. Have you ever seen invisible people, or what people call invisible, or ghosts?
Oh yeah, sometimes I don't have to have daydreams or have to go to bed just to see them. Sometimes I stare at something a lot. Sometimes I just stare at something for a while and I imagine. Mm-hmm. I imagine that's Grandma Rose. She died, but Grandma Rose, my grandma is standing right there looking at me and talking to me and telling me what's happening up in another world and who she is in another world.
Is she happy there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she also says that she wants to come back. But maybe she will, but maybe I'll be in. See, I like spirits. I love them. Some people don't understand. They're afraid
mm-hmm.
of them and don't want to imagine them. But sometimes they have to take it. And I'm not one of those people, but I just love spirits because then it gives me a feeling what it would be like if she was really living now.
Yeah. It's like when she comes to visit you.
Yeah.
I always think that if you think of the person, whoever's died on the other side, if you just think of them, that probably means they're thinking of you. That's why you came to think of them. And you know what, Rainbow Shalom? I'm just getting the signal we're out of time. Do you believe that? We just got started. I want to cry. I'm so mad. Gee whiz. Well, listen, let's bring your mommy and daddy back on here so we can say goodbye together. Would that be okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's have your mommy, Rainbow, come back on, and your father.
Should I take this off?
No, you can leave it on. That's okay. And they can maybe use this other microphone we used for the guitar. That was great. We'll just kind of get here together. This is Fred Johnson, her father, and Rainbow Shalom. You guys are wonderful guests. Hi, yeah, I don't know if they can hear you.
It's okay. I'm glad to say hi to you.
He's saying hello. Okay. You said that you've done a tape or something. Could you tell a meditation tape or something? Could you tell how they could contact you if they're interested in more information?
They could write to my...
Maybe you want to use the micro, that floor mic. Yeah, because I don't think they can pick it up. Thank you. I'm sorry.
They could write to 5020 Eagle View Circle, Los Angeles 90041 if they wanted information about it.
Great. Okay, thank you. And if you want to see more information about the Natural Psychic, it's 3017 Santa Monica Boulevard, Suite 350, Santa Monica, California, 90040. No, I forgot. Whatever it says on the screen. And the phone number is 207-5310, area code 213-207-5310. Well, this has been a happy occasion. I'm glad to have had you here to discuss the afterlife. We could talk more about it after the show if necessary, and there's more to say. But you were wonderful guests. And I want to thank everybody at home for all the support and love, and keep bringing out the natural psychic in yourselves. So, we have a minute. Okay, well, I want to say thank you to Mark Johnson, to Communicom, to John Clodfelter, to those two who are great directors over the year, and to some of my wonderful guests, Rachel White, Catherine McKenzie, Bernadette Dupre, Bill Burns. I could go on and on. It sounds like the Academy Awards. Anyway, to everybody who helped us, and the guides up there especially. We couldn't have done it without them. So thank you, and stay tuned to your own inner self. That's where the natural psychic lives. It's you. God bless, and good night.